Pop Culture is Dumb. Hosted by Zach Eagles and Jackson Miller.
Welcome to Pop Culture is Dumb. I'm your host, Zach Eagles, and with me, as always, is Jackson Miller. Jackson.
Howdy ho, Zach. What's going on?
What's going on, buddy? Did you have a great holiday?
Oh, man. Just the things, all the gifts, the children's eyes lighting up.
All the gifts. That's the first thing you say. What are you, a child?
The family.
Selfish.
The Christmas spirits.
The food.
The food was pretty good.
I'm always all about that food.
The travel. Didn't love that, but we do what we do.
Who does? Am I right?
Like, phew. Airplanes are too small these days. I always got to sit with people with bad BS. Anyway. So what are we here to do today, Zach?
Today we are going to talk about the definitive list of the top 14 pop culture things of 2014.
I like that title. Pop culture things. See, we could have been cool and called it like, just, you know, to appeal to the kids, be like the trending top 14 trends.
Oh, I like that.
And then like the hashtag, the hashies or something.
Yeah,
but
I don't like that, but I like the trending. Yeah.
But I like the things.
Let's change the name.
I like things. Things is good. Things is nice and wordy.
Things
and
is good.
You can put that on a T-shirt. When we open up our store,
let's start selling that shirt. Things is good in our store on our
good.
website.
It'll be a nice counterpoint to the first episode where I basically just said everything is bad.
So let's do this. Let's go through. We both have a list of like 8 or 9 things. So why don't you can go first if you want to.
Okay. All right.
And give me your lowest seated thing. And what we'll do is we will figure out the top 14 things combining both of our lists. How about that?
All right. And things, as is obvious by the use of the word things, is very vague. It could be a movie.
Music.
Video game.
TV.
If
anything.
some great event happened, I guess. If
Yeah.
you're like a really big fan of Ebola and you wanted that to be on the list.
Whoa, too soon.
I mean, I did not put it on the list. I guess that's a spoiler. And I guess, you know, it's possible we'll get into spoilers also.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's try not to
necessary.
because we're talking about so many things here.
Yeah,
but
since it's retroactive, I guess we'll try to avoid it. So I'm going to put this. I put this on the very bottom of the list.
Okay.
It's probably very near the top for me in reality, but since it's cheating, I didn't want to put it too high. For me, the top 14th thing of 2014 that was great is that 2013 was only a year ago, so you can still listen to all the great music that came out of that year instead of listening to this year and enjoy it. And last year we had such great albums. I'm just going to read off some of them.
Is this cheat? This is completely cheating.
It's the fact.
So your whole thing is the number 14th thing is just the fact that it's near another year? That's
that
it?
It was still close enough to where you may not have heard some of these albums yet, and you can still
that's
listen
ridiculous.
to
Go ahead.
And I'm just going to name a few of them. Queens of Stone Age Like Clockwork came out last year.
Yeah.
You had Arctic Monkeys coming out with AM last year. Arcade Fire came out with Reflector last year. My Phone Went to Sleep. Tame Impala came out with Lonerism. There was The Machine and Sungrazer had a really good split EP. Loading Data, who I'd mentioned earlier, they came out with an album last year.
Yeah.
King Buffalo had a great demo. Local band All Them Witches, Lightning at the Door came out last year.
Nice.
And I got some others. But that's an example of when I was making this list, and I went into my iTunes and I sorted by release year to be like, so what are the albums that I've listened to?
And everything said 2013, and you said I'm looking for 2014, so that's perfect, because that's near us.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, Zach is going to love this one.
Yeah.
So that's my 14.
And I don't.
Yeah. Just wait till you see the rest of my list.
All right, so that was number 14. Number 13 is my pick, and I'm going with Nathan For You.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I have seen a little bit of Nathan For You.
Such a great show. If you haven't seen it, it's on Comedy Central. Nathan Fielder is the host. And this guy is a genius. Comedy genius.
Now I've seen I think 1 or 2 episodes.
So the whole main idea is that he is supposed to be helping businesses or just helping, entrepreneurs or people come up with whatever their business is. He's trying to help them get better business, basically. Mm-hmm. But it's all obviously a setup and some kind of joke. And I just love his dedication to it because he never, ever breaks character. He's so into it. I think it's great. It's so funny. I mean, he had so many things that went really viral, like the dumb Starbucks went hugely viral all over the world. And the whole video with the goat helping, what was it? He was drowning or something was drowning, and a goat swam in the water and helped the thing to safety. I don't remember.
Is it another goat?
Oh, it was like a duck or something. I don't know. It was great.
And that's,
it was
nature's
so
best friends. I remember seeing some of the commercials for it before it aired and not thinking much of it. So when I eventually did catch about 2 episodes on Comedy Central one night, I was really pleasantly surprised at how good that show was.
Very funny. Yeah, my brother got me onto it, and I had never like seen any of it or anything before either. And man, I fell in love with it. I thought it was so funny. To me, that was one of the funniest shows of the year.
It really
is not getting like, as far as I know, I don't think it's really getting like many reviews or top 10 lists or anything like that. But I thought it was so funny.
I remember the episode I saw at one point. It was a guy who's like a security guard, and I guess he'd had a problem of checking out women.
Yeah,
I don't remember much of the setup or the gist, but the man he interviewed was incredibly genuine.
Oh,
and
but that's the best thing about it, because everybody on there are real people, like really experiencing these feelings about their business and everything, and he just comes in and just. Oh, it's so great! Such a funny show.
You've seen more of it than I have. Does it come across as though it's all legitimate?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they're really fooling these people, because that's a big part of.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not really like your typical prank show where it's like they're pranking them the whole time, and at the very end they're like, "We got you." It's sort of like sometimes he actually does help their business and stuff. So it is kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, in the end he just kind of is like, "All right, nice meeting you," and he just leaves.
So it looked a lot like just kind of seeing bits and pieces, like it was going to be. Like they were taking inspiration from The Daily Show when they would usually have kind of the junior.
It is kind of like that same kind of feel a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a great show though.
That's a good pick, and I want to watch more of that.
You definitely should.
I'll have to catch up on that. Maybe it'll make maybe season 2 will make my 2015 things list.
Yeah, spoiler.
It's pretty.
All right,
pretty far.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're on to item 13.
No, 12.
12.
Number 12.
13's a special number to me. So this was an album. This one of my album choices. I was going to go with Mastodon's Once More Around the Sun that came out this year. In a not the strongest year for music that I enjoy, at least. I'm sure plenty of people were very, very happy with what came out this year. But
I've never really listened to them before.
Mastodon, and I'm not sure what the critical or diehard fan kind of opinion towards the album has been. They've, in recent years, the past 3 albums at least, The Hunter... and I'm blanking on the one before that for some reason, but the most recent 3 albums have been trending toward kind of a more just kind of commercial mainstream sound, which is fine for me because I wasn't as crazy about some of their old stuff. But it's a great metal album, metal rock, kind of trending in that direction.
Sort of not really like them Crooked Vultures and Queens and stuff like that.
It's progressive metal. If you're into that, then there's a reason I like all those bands. I'm sure it's more of a similarity than, say, I don't know, a Slipknot or something, or anything really more out there than that. Not implying Slipknot's like this heavy thing, but because they had an album out, I don't know if it's on our list, but
really,
yeah, I think they did. I didn't listen to it.
I've never really been into. You're talking about Slipknot, right? Yeah, I've never really been into them.
They had a time and a place.
They're scary.
They had big spooky masks. I mean, we all know. We're not doing a Halloween countdown.
I'll have to check out that album. Yeah, I mean, you always have really good underground taste.
I've got nothing like a probably gold or platinum album to me. Underground taste. But no, Mastodon's, I like the Mastodon. It's not my favorite Mastodon album, but I thought it was, in a relatively weak year, in my opinion, it definitely was on my list.
Now, here's number 11. X-Men Days of Future Past.
Okay.
Did you see it?
I did not see X-Men Days of Future Past. I also realized going through this list, I caught up on a lot of shows, and I watched a lot of older movies. So
yeah, I did a lot of that too. Yeah, when I was going through and kind of thinking about it, but this was one of the earlier movies I have on my list that came out. I mean, it's still like in the summer, but I think like in May or something. But yeah, I loved this movie. I thought it was so cool, and I've always loved all the X-Men movies. All of them. I know I'm kind of a weirdo.
We can turn this into an X-Men conversation then.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Now, I'm not an expert on X-Men.
I am.
Okay.
I would just go for it.
Got a lot of questions.
My degree in it. Got my degree in X-Men.
Get paid professionally to think about X-Men.
Yeah.
X-Men 3. Is it The Last Stand?
Yeah, see, that's what I was getting at. So everybody hates that movie.
I saw that one. After not seeing... I mean, I saw the first 2 X-Men, and I remember thinking they were fine.
I even liked The Last Stand, really.
Okay.
Most people hate it, but the funny thing that Days of Future Past does is sort of like, without really getting into it and spoiling too much or anything, but it sort of like wipes out those first 3 movies a little bit.
Okay.
Because there's so much like time traveling stuff going on. But obviously this one takes place like back in time. Wolverine goes back in time. And yeah, I thought all the acting was really fun. And Quicksilver, his little part that he is in there is like one of the highlights of the year, really, I think. And
I heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
In First Class, which was 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
Were those comparable? Was there one? I mean...
I definitely like this one way more than First Class.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought First Class was pretty good too.
And so are they in...
And it's most of the same people from First Class are in this one.
Is it the same storyline? Like, they didn't do just a reset?
Right, yeah. It's
okay, so it's all
continuing
part of the same
from
canon?
First Class, right.
Okay. Because I knew they kind of relaunched everything. Did you see... I saw Origins Wolverine.
Ugh.
That first Wolverine one.
Terrible.
I didn't think that was very good.
Yeah,
and
that was probably the X-Men movie I really didn't like.
Did you see the most recent Wolverine? Just called, I think, The Wolverine, where he goes to Japan?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that bad?
I actually like that one.
That was better than Origins Wolverine?
Yeah.
I never saw this new one.
Okay.
It looked
pretty
weird.
I like the Wolverine, actually.
Okay. And have they made a third one?
I think that they are working on the third one, and that comes out like in 2017 or something.
Okay. All right. So I'm not as huge on X-Men. I mean, I like them fine, but
I would probably go so far as to say after The Dark Knight, obviously, but I think they're probably my favorite superhero movies.
Okay. All right. Over Avengers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right. Number 10. What do you got?
Number 10. Let's keep on going down the list here. Speaking of, and maybe this should be higher, but I'm going to say House of Cards Season 2.
Nice.
Which came out. It almost
felt that on my list.
Okay, and I almost feel like it should have been higher, and it probably should be.
It probably should, but yeah, I think that's probably a good placement. But so you binged that pretty recently, didn't you?
Very recently. I double checked before the podcast. I think this came out in like January, February. So
it came out February.
Yeah, because the next one's coming out in February also. I watched, as I talked about on the other podcast, all of season 1 pretty quickly, and then I took a long break. And then finally wrapped up our other shows we were getting caught up on, as I'd said earlier, like American Horror Story and a bunch of other kind of long form dramas. Watched through all of House of Cards Season 2. I loved it. I don't really think I can compare it necessarily to Season 1 and pick one that's better, because they're very different.
Yeah.
But big, impactful, kind of shocking moments. The acting's still great.
Yeah, I watched that whole season the weekend it came out. I watched the entire season that weekend. Because I watched the first one like when that one had come out, so I was obviously really waiting. Probably what I'm going to do with the third one. Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
So do we want to get into spoilers here? We talked about wanting to talk about season 3 at some point.
Let's not.
We can skip because people.
Let's wait. Yeah, let's do a whole episode just on House of Cards once we watch the third.
They may
one.
be catching up on it like I did, but it has has enough big moments. Enough just totally blindsiding things.
Oh, yeah. And the acting is all around amazing.
Act is great. Introduces some new characters.
The writing is always awesome. Yeah. The way it's shot is awesome.
It's and I think if there was anything I would kind of say about the last season that I didn't like so much is there were, I'll avoid specifics, but there were some kind of little side stories that just kind of seemed to meander and take a long time to resolve.
I kind of thought so too. Yeah, that kind of stuff was a little slower.
Yeah, and they really, this season, I guess it's probably just more directly, because last season she was Frank's wife, Claire, was doing a lot of stuff that at least seemed unrelated to Frank's more interesting, more prominent story. And this season she's a lot more directly involved. Her events are happening at the same time, which I think definitely helped just kind of keep things.
It's definitely strengthened it, and kind of keep it focused a little bit, because that was sort of the problem with the first season. I still love the first season, but yeah, it did. You're right. It had a couple different extra paths that were pointless, I guess, a little bit.
And this season even kind of, I mean, it introduces some new characters, but it kind of seems to want to at least temporarily kind of tie up some of the other storylines. Yeah. Like, well, this story's done for a while. You don't have to worry about it anymore. This character's doing something else. And
yeah,
I think that.
Well, the whole thing, I don't want to spoil it, but the first episode, a major character from the first season killed right away. I mean, that alone was crazy.
Even just the way in which,
and it was sort of like, did that really just happen, or was that like a dream or something that he had? It was just,
within the context of the episode. It was so abrupt.
Oh yeah,
which is why it worked. There was no build up. It wasn't a cliffhanger at the end of the episode.
I was not expecting it at all.
There was no music. Yeah, the way and so far, because it's had a couple. How do I avoid spoilers? The way the show has treated something like a character dying with such permanence, and it hasn't done anything shady yet.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, you didn't. He crawled back out of the Sarlacc pit or
Right.
whatever. It makes that mean so much. So every additional death or every additional write-off or anything like that that's happened or will happen
Yeah.
has a lot more emphasis and
Oh,
power
yeah.
behind it.
Well, number 9. And I picked the Walking Dead premiere of season 5. Yeah, I went there. Now, you haven't seen that episode, right?
I have not. I have seen, and I guess I have a few corrections from the first episode. There were not nearly as many episodes as I remember there being. There were only 6.
From the
In
first
season
season?
1?
Yeah.
And so I think I said that I watched it over a few nights. We watched it all in one night. It was just 6 episodes, 45 minutes or whatever.
Right.
I rewatched some of it recently. I watched all of episode 2 of season 1,
And you still didn't
and I
like
took
it.
notes, and I hated it. I have a list of notes I will avoid for the sake of this episode.
Now, I was sort of in the same boat that you were with every other season pretty much. But I feel like this season 5 premiere, and I'm going to say it was the best episode ever of The Walking Dead.
I don't find that hard to believe.
Now, it's not like it really has to live up to much, but the intensity throughout the whole episode from beginning to end, literally right off the bat, it was so intense and so fast paced. And the whole time I was thinking, why is this show not always like this? It would be amazing.
Now, does it still premiere around Halloween?
Yeah, I think it was the weekend of or
Okay.
before, something
I
like
knew
that.
they used to time it around that at least, which makes sense.
I think it was a couple weeks before. I think
Is the season still ongoing?
it's now in the mid-season premiere or mid-season
Season whatever hiatus.
break or whatever. So yeah, it won't be back on until February, I think.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, man, that premiere so awesome, and I don't want to spoil anything, but
Season as a whole, has it lived up to
yeah,
that
it's
first
probably one of the
watermark?
better seasons. But that first episode, by far best. I think that was the best episode ever of that show. Intense throughout the whole thing, so good.
I had an idea of
Oh boy,
to kind of catch up on the series so that I could, because I'm sure it'll keep coming up.
Yeah.
I have a little more to say. I don't want to sit and watch the entire series up to this point, because I tried doing that.
And you know what? You don't need to.
And yeah, because
Not much happens, really. I can
I
catch
feel like
you up
I
in
can
like
skip
5
around.
minutes.
Because as I said, I watched episode 2 of season 1, and then I watched the last episode of season 1.
Oh, really?
Just kind of catch up on what happens. And I was sitting with my notepad in hand, ready to take notes of what all was terrible about it. And for most of that last episode, I didn't write much down because it was just kind of boring.
He's falling in love. Oh, never mind.
It was just, you meet the scientist whose name
Jenner.
That's right. I remember you knew it last time. And they dawdle around, and not a lot happens.
I think what we need to do is when this season 5 comes back from the hiatus, you need to come over. We need to watch it together because I've got to see your reactions.
I'll watch.
And you know what? Actually, they've said I feel like I've heard the showrunner, although I've probably heard this 1,000 times from them. But he said
it's gonna
this
be good this time.
Yeah, he said this. Mid-season premiere or whatever they're calling it is like one of the best they've ever done or something. But I mean, the season 5 premiere, I loved that one. I thought that was really good.
Can you find these on demand or the
I'm
seasons that
sure
are airing?
you can, yeah, somewhere.
Okay, I might hunt them down.
All right, hit me with number 8.
All right, number 8. And this, remember again, this is the definitive listing
Oh yeah,
of these events. I'm gonna go with another album. I may be talking by myself again, but it was Casualties of Cool is the name of the album. The band, I think, is also technically called that as far as how iTunes has things listed. But the artist behind it is Devin Townsend. I don't know if I mentioned him on the show before, but he's one of my favorites. He started, well, he didn't start, but his earliest main success, he was with Strapping Young Lad, a metal band, decades ago. He sang on a Steve Vai album, I guess, but Sex and Religion is not exactly something. That's not what I was interested in or listened to. I was never really that much into Strapping Young Lad, but he's had quite a prolific and varied solo career.
So is this just him? This
is him,
album, or is it a whole band?
It's him and a female singer also, whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head. He wrote the songs and he does pretty much all of it. I don't know why it's classified under Casualties of Cool. It's just a weird iTunes listing, I guess. But great album. It's a weird mix because his normal stuff, I guess, started with heavy metal. It's kind of changed. He's just done like an acoustic album, or not an acoustic album, but basically just kind of like new age.
Yeah.
Barely any singing, pretty string music. He's done a lot of heavy stuff since then. But this one's kind of, if you took a country, like an old country record, but it was recorded in space
Ooh, I like
or on
that.
the moon or something. It's a weird space country kind of. I don't know. It's very unique. It's a sound very much its own. It's like all the stuff. It's completely different from pretty much all of the rest of his work. You can usually find bits and pieces. I guess so. If you've heard of it, an album his Key from a few years ago is maybe the closest comparison, but that's pretty vague. Just a really interesting artist. I'm sure he'll keep cropping up on my lists.
Yeah, I'll have to check him out.
But Casualties of Cool is
Cool.
my next entry in the list.
All right, back to me. Number 7, Jack White, Lazaretto.
Okay, this made my list too. I actually would have had it lower than it was going to end up being on my list just by process of elimination.
Lower as in?
As in it wasn't...
Closer to number 1 or closer to 14?
Closer to 14.
Okay.
I have no problem with where it is on this list, and I could see it being
Now,
high.
here's what happened. This album, they did some kind of thing, and I don't remember if it was on his website or I think it might have been an iTunes thing, but for like 4 days or something when it was released, it was like free streaming. Like anybody could listen to it. It wasn't yet on Spotify or anything like that. And I listened to that album non-stop for like those 4 or 5 days. And every song I thought was so amazing. And actually, I remember hanging out with you like around that time it came out. We were kind of talking about it. Yeah.
Or something.
And I remember saying something like, you've got to listen to this album. It's so good. And now looking back on it, yeah, I would say, like kind of like what you were alluding to earlier, to me, there wasn't that many great albums this year. And that one really stuck out to me. And I mean, the fact that, you know, he's a Nashville artist and stuff like that, I don't know how much that really plays into it, but in Nashville, he is really huge. And yeah, I don't know. I heard that album all over the place. Loved it. Thought it was so good.
I listened when it first came out, and it kind of just... It was fine and kind of washed over me, but I didn't remember a lot about it. For whatever reason, I was huge into White Stripes, and this was...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was catching up on a lot of it retroactively, so I'm not saying I was there from the beginning.
Right.
But I loved a bunch of the White Stripes stuff, especially his style and some of the early albums.
Yeah.
It was really different, just raw sound. As he's kind of gone on, it's changed more and more. I liked Raconteurs. I was never as huge into Dead Weather, although what they were doing was a little more interesting. As far as creativity goes, I think. And then he released his first solo album. I listened to it and I liked it, but I don't know if it was a time and place thing, but I wasn't as nearly as into that album as his White Stripes stuff. And so I went back and re-listened to Lazaretto just the other day, kind of in preparation for this.
Yeah.
And I came much more positive feeling from it.
I mean, even the single Lazaretto is amazing. I think that's like one of Jack White's like best singles I've ever heard.
I wrote down Temporary Ground, Highball Stepper, and Would You Fight for My Love.
Yeah, those are all really good. Highball Stepper, that one's really good.
I thought it's definitely not going to listen to
his
more.
other solo album, Blunderbuss, that came out a few years ago, that was one I never really got that into. I thought it was pretty good, but I did not fall in love with it the way I did with this one. And this one, I listened to it like I said, nonstop for a week straight or something, and so good.
I'd be interested in going back and listening to Blunderbuss again and listening to this some more because, yeah, you're right. For whatever reason, even just the few times I've given this one, it's stuck out and
really good.
More positive than Blunderbuss was.
All right, number 6.
Number 6. This is my turn, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, man, I'm running out of items. Well, then I'm going to throw this one here because it's kind of a similar situation, actually. The Black Keys album, Turn Blue.
Okay.
In another, as you recall from my list at the very beginning, in another year, if this came out last year, this would not even be on my list.
Right.
I'm, again, huge Black Keys fan. And again, I was not following these guys from the beginning, but despite that, going back through the discography, their early stuff is what I like the most.
Yeah.
I'm not a jaded hipster fan.
No, but the early stuff was just so cool. The way that it was recorded, and it just feels almost like you're there with them while they're playing, you know?
Yeah.
And now, yeah, I would definitely agree. Turn Blue, I bought it right when it came out, the week it came out and everything. And, Yeah, I'm same as you. I thought it was really good, but to me, very forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah, like I probably couldn't even name several of the tracks off there.
No.
Kind of same. I mean, El Camino and Brothers, I think were stronger albums.
Yeah.
Kind of continued. There's been that trend. I don't know if it's just my tastes or what, but kind of a trend downwards.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
Brothers, but
I would, I'd probably put this somewhere in the 14 also, I think. As just, if we're trying to include some albums, I think this is, probably one of the stronger albums this year, though, at least that I've heard. I mean, I know there's a lot of other stuff, but
I like the single from it. It's interesting. It's definitely one I want to keep giving it more time. But yeah, Black Keys Turn Blue. It's on the list. Zach, I'm going to say I don't have as many numbers left. How about you take a couple? We'll give you 3 in a row if you think you have the numbers left on you.
Brother, okay. If you really want to give them to me.
Let's do it.
Are we going to be able to debate over number 1 then a little bit?
We can do that. We can, if we think something needs to be pushed up the list or something, we can consider that.
All right, at number 5, and I know you haven't seen it, but Fargo, the TV show.
That's, my goodness. Martha and I were talking, my wife and I were talking about how we needed to keep a list of everything to catch up on. Because Fargo's another one that everyone is saying. I love the Coen Brothers. I love the movie. And I've heard nothing but great things. When is there season 2?
Yeah, and then they're doing the same thing that like True Detective and American Horror Story, that anthology sort of thing. So now the cast will be different the second season.
Oh, I didn't know they're doing it.
Yeah, and I think they have announced the cast maybe. I don't know. I need to go back and look. But the first season all around so good. I thought all the acting was awesome. The plot is amazing throughout.
Does it capture the same setting, the same feel as the original
show?
Fargo?
It's slightly different, but yeah, it is sort of the same kind of feeling.
But you can imagine these are the other members of the town.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not really... Well, Fargo's not even really about Fargo.
Oh, yeah.
But this... I mean, it doesn't even really take place in Fargo. This one doesn't really either. They only have like 1 or 2 scenes in Fargo, I think. But yeah, Billy Bob Thornton, amazing in it. Colin Hanks, really cool. Martin Freeman stole the show for me. Mm-hmm. That was sort of the first thing I really saw him in. And then, The Hobbit and The Office and stuff like that.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Was he in that?
He was
I need to go. I haven't seen that.
I saw most of it. It was fine.
Yeah. Really good, though. Fargo, really cool. Very cool show.
That's definitely on my list to check. I've been catching up a lot on stuff this year, so I'm behind on a lot of shows like that, and I'm sure there'll be more on the list. Fargo's, I definitely heard nothing but universal praise for it, and that's definitely...
Well, here's another show you need to catch up on. Here's my number 4. Sonic Highways.
So the
TV show. Let's be clear about this. The TV show.
I was gonna say, I've noticed we've gotten all the way to number 4, and you have not said the Foo Fighters album.
Now, here's the thing. I liked that album. I thought it was actually really good, but I would definitely not put it in the top 14. But the show was amazing, and I always like a lot of that stuff that they do. Sound City was really cool. Mm-hmm. The actual like Foo Fighters documentary they did back and forth was really cool. And this is no different. And actually this one, Dave Grohl directed it, and I'm sure he produced a lot of it and stuff, but all the artists they have come on there. And the coolest thing to me was I found so many bands that I'd never heard of that he kind of talks to on here and stuff, that, man, these bands are so good.
I'd heard, because I have listened to the album. I listened to it once through. I haven't given it its true time, but nothing jumped out at me. Just kind of been the problem with Foo Fighters stuff.
Yeah,
I guess just kind of in general this year. But I heard a comment, I think it was him responding to some criticism, him being Dave Grohl, that from people who watched the show were expecting the album to have a lot more, I guess, diversity or influence from the acts they're bringing in.
Yeah, that was sort of my one problem with the show, is that in each of the... So he goes to, like, I think, 6 different cities, something like that. He goes to all these different cities, and Seattle, Nashville, New Orleans, Washington, Austin. And in each of these, he kind of talks to the artists that are, from that town, that are considered very famous from that town. So in Nashville, obviously, it's all these country artists. But that was sort of the thing that a lot of people did have a problem with, you're right, was that, like, for instance, when they come to Nashville... they get Zach Brown to come on, and he actually plays guitar on that. He plays solo on that song, and he's very good guitarist, obviously. And Dave Grohl kind of leaves the room at one part, and the other guys are all still in there recording and stuff, and he comes back in and they start playing all these like, you know, Western country kind of licks, you know, and he kind of comments on it like, you know, this doesn't sound like a sort of thing. And in the other cities, it's the same sort of thing that I feel like if they had really absorbed what they were doing in those cities, you know, it would have played a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't necessarily expect or want it to be a 6-city kind of cover album of here's our version of a country song, here's our version of that.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but I
would have rather heard that.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it definitely would have been more unique.
Yeah.
But yeah, the some bands I thought, well, like, okay, so Gary Clark Jr., I've heard of him before.
Where's he?
Austin. And
okay.
I've listened to some of his stuff before, but in that episode he comes on and it just made me want to just listen to him, the way he talks in his interviews and stuff, you know. So I went back and listened to some of his stuff. Man, so
his
good.
album was last year.
Yeah, another great one from last year. So good.
I was a huge fan.
And then in New Orleans, a couple bands like Trombone Shorty, very cool artist, and the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, very cool. So yeah, I mean, just overall, I mean, just that alone, and then other people that obviously you've listened to a million times, Joe Walsh and bands like that. Their stuff, just hearing them talk and stuff is really interesting too, you know. So I love the way it's all shot and presented too. Editing is awesome. So yeah, that was my number 4.
Okay. Well, here I'll throw.
Go ahead.
I'll throw one on for number 3, which I feel like I tricked you into getting it all the way up this list.
Uh-oh.
By pretending to lay out. Okay. It's going to be another. Devin Townsend released like 3 albums this year.
Oh boy.
He does a lot of work. So if we have to do some shuffling later and move it down, that's all right. But he released the, I guess, official album is called Z2. It's a follow-up to a kind of parody metal-ish type album he released a couple years ago called Ziltoid, the Omniscient. He did it in, just to make it more confusing, this is Z2, which is the sequel, but it's a double album. One side is Dark Matters, which is kind of the true follow-up to the kind of cartoony. He had a puppet series. There's a lot about it. I could show you a lot of cool videos. But the other album was a more traditional album about him called Sky Blue that he released. And I thought it was fantastic.
So this is a double album.
Z2 is the double album. Sky Blue is one of the two. I'll pick Sky Blue as representative. The other album I wasn't, Dark Matters, not as into.
So you want to put Sky Blue then?
Yeah, Devin Townsend's Sky Blue. I'll throw that in the race. I thought that was, of all the albums I've listened to this year, that was one of the best. I guess by virtue of my own personal list, the second best.
So let's do a little bit of a countdown then from what we have to number 2. So number 14, your weird, it's close to 2013.
I think that's a decent...
Does that work? Okay.
I think it works.
Number 13, Nathan For You, great show, Comedy Central. Number 12, Mastodon, right?
Mastodon, Once More Around the Sun.
Number 11, X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 10, House of Cards Season 2. Number 9, Walking Dead, the Season 5 premiere. Only the premiere, not the whole season.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
Number 8, Casualties of Cool. Number 7, Jack White Lazaretto. Number 6, Black Keys Turn Blue. Number 5, Fargo, the TV show on FX. Number 4, Sonic Highways, the TV show on HBO. Number 3, Sky Blue. Number 2. Let's have a discussion on number 2 and number 1.
Okay.
Let's figure out what we want to do.
How about this?
You throw out what you think. I'll throw out what I think.
I'll give you what's left on my list.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right.
Which I watched last
now you're
night.
talking.
Because I needed to get prepped.
Yeah.
So that I think that deserves... And I say we open up the whole list. We can bump stuff off. Like some of these loser ones except for mine.
That doesn't sound right.
Super Smash Brothers. They come out for the Wii U.
Oh, bro.
The video game. Just you wait. We'll play it. Doesn't necessarily need to make it on the list.
Okay.
I just wanted to throw it. I want to get this word out there. Because Charlie Classic, I'm coming for you. You challenged me. You and Jay Cyrus both said you could beat me. Granted, you did say on, I think, GameCube. Doesn't matter.
GameCube?
On the GameCube version of Super Smash Bros. They were talking, Kirby's so good. Yeah, we'll see. Let me see what else I had left. Royal Blood, their debut album came out.
Yeah, that was a good album.
Yeah, I think I listened to it the other day.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot. If I were to do some shuffling of my own picks, I would say let's kick off the Black Keys and put Royal Blood instead somewhere on this list.
Yeah. Do you want to?
I would even be fine with getting rid of...
I'm fine with making an omission. Do you want to?
I would be fine with removing. Let's see what you have, and then we'll see what we need to shuffle away. But I definitely think
I've got
deserves to be on
3
there.
left.
Okay.
So the 3 that I kind of put are the New Basement Tapes, which that is the sort of super group that T-Bone Burnett put together of Jim James and Marcus Mumford, Elvis Costello, the singer from Dawes, Taylor Goldsmith is his name, the singer from Chocolate Carolina Drops. Very cool album.
I listened to a handful of songs since you suggested the other day, and I very much liked it.
Very good. So the whole premise obviously was just that, I don't know if you really read much into it, but it was kind of like Bob Dylan's, all these songs that he had written that he never really did anything with, and all he did was write the lyrics. Mm-hmm. And so these guys all just were given the lyrics, and within like 2 weeks recorded this whole album.
Did it have permission? Like,
yeah,
the blessing of...
Yeah. They didn't just like steal this. And
well,
we're making money.
I just meant like the, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I had Guardians.
Okay. Great one.
And I had Birdman, which you haven't seen, right?
I have not seen. I've heard a lot about it. I've actually listened to a lot of reviews and watched a lot of reviews on it. I do want to see it.
To me, that was the best film. And I actually have that number 1 on my overall.
Okay.
Such an amazing film. Everything about it from top to bottom. And I will be shocked if it doesn't like sweep the Oscars.
Oh, wow.
Very good movie. So
I say we do some trimming.
Yeah.
Let's make some
edits. Okay.
Let's make some edits. I would be fine with cutting Black Keys because we were both pretty. I feel like that made it on there in a weak year. One of the other albums we've talked about. I'd be fine with cutting Lazaretto, or if we need Casualties.
What do you want to put instead of Black Keys?
Instead of Black Keys, what number are they currently?
6.
I'd like Royal Blood at 6.
All right, let's do that.
I thought that album was much more interesting.
I like that one better than Black Keys too.
Yeah. And then,
I want to keep Lazaretto.
Okay. If you want to
I like Lazaretto.
Do you want to get Basement Tapes on there? We can cut. I'd be okay with cutting Casualties.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great album, but I already got Devi way up on the list with something else. So.
Okay. Let me write that down.
And then we need to get. Do we need to squeeze any more? Does that fit in Birdman and Guardians? Okay.
I think so. So since we've both seen Guardians, do you think we need to put that number 1?
I think
tell me what you thought about it. I mean,
I love Guardians.
I haven't really heard your opinion.
Yeah, okay. I'd heard nothing but great things about it already. Had a huge critical and kind of pop reaction to it. So I had pretty, I guess, high expectations going in. I don't watch all the superhero movies that come out.
Right.
I watched Avengers and I enjoyed Avengers, but I don't feel like I needed to see
Thor
alone, the most dynamic character, or Captain America. Although I heard those were actually
pretty good. And Winter Soldier, we're probably doing some injustice by not putting that on here, but that's all right.
Okay. So yeah, that's the thing I was kind of surprised about. I was like, well, he's maybe less interesting than Thor, but his movies, I guess, apparently.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too. And then I watched that Winter Soldier one. I'm like, this is actually really good.
I'll maybe catch up on some of those.
Guardians, I just thought, I love the self-awareness. I love how smart it was, the music, everything about it. Chris Pratt was awesome.
I loved, because James Gunn directed it and wrote it, and his name was all over the place. I loved Super from a couple of years ago.
Okay, you saw that?
Super.
Weirdest movie I've ever seen.
Super was great. I was watching Super with some friends, I don't know, a year or something ago, just catching up on Netflix. And I guess I'll get into some Super spoilers, because it's been a while. The moment I think it's the first time he kills someone with a wrench in the middle.
That is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. It makes me feel like almost nauseous or something.
It's awkward but not like in an Office way where it's awkward for comedy.
No, it's just awkward on purpose.
Hyper violence. Yeah. It's weird relationships going on, but it's just fascinating and fantastic movie. So seeing his name pop up for basically just a big budget, like blockbuster, I was really,
and Guardians was sort of the film that everybody beforehand was kind of like, this is where Marvel is going to screw up, because up until then it was like everything was a blockbuster, and then this movie was the highest grossing film of the year.
It seemed really risky as far as characters no one knows, and I mean, I'm sure obviously it has its fans, but you say Spider-Man, people know what it is. You say Thor, people are like, what? But if you say the Avengers and Iron Man, probably most importantly, they're like, okay, yeah, I know that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Guardians didn't really have that recognition beforehand, but I remember when those trailers like first started coming out, everybody was talking about them, and then once like everybody saw it, it was kind of like this phenomenon that you had to see that movie.
I thought hearing about it a couple months before, I guess, the trailer started coming out, just hearing that they were making a movie and hearing that it involved a raccoon and
and Bradley Cooper. Yeah, Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel would both be in a movie, and you wouldn't see either one.
That's probably my favorite use of a voice actor is making sure to cast Vin Diesel just to probably throw his name up there for laughs.
Yeah, and I think he had to record like probably 1,000 times, like saying "I am Groot." I think.
But I thought the movie was really great. I was surprised at the opening how
playful and
at the very opening with the dying the opposite how weirdly emotional they
and then he comes and he's like dancing and singing and everything
breaks through. I love the just kind of the practical effects, and the CG worked great. I loved how it was kind of like old Star Wars in a way. Everything was kind of humanoid.
Right.
There weren't really that many really strange
like fake sort of looking things.
It was like, hey, here's a guy we painted in the blue because he's an alien. There you go.
I thought the whole like breaking out of the prison scene was awesome.
The prison sequence
so
was great. Funny. The gags with him making him steal the leg.
Oh yeah, that stuff's so funny.
It was the kind of mid credits or near the end of the movie where I thought Dave Bautista was great.
Yeah, he was great.
He's the character that didn't get metaphors and everything. Right. They didn't go overboard with that.
Yeah,
but I thought it was a great idea. Yeah. Just a way to kind of put some life in it.
Well, I'm cool with putting that number one. I would put that number one.
I want to see Birdman. I've heard great things. I'm sure Birdman will probably win more Academy Awards than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think so.
I think and even if we were pretending this topic was trending topics, I can't imagine it's been much bigger.
No.
In pop culture than Guardians of the Galaxy has this year.
No way. Yeah, Birdman, I'd put that number 2, though. Guardians number 1. Well, cool.
I like our list.
I did, too.
I thought when I was writing my own, I was trying to make my half. I was afraid it'd be a little weak, but...
No, I think we got some good picks in there. Yeah. We got a pretty good blend of albums and movies, TV shows, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on this.
Yeah.
Are we at the appropriate Tinder podcast time? All right.
Sure. We're done.
It's like 17 minutes. It's like no one's feeling gypped yet.
We definitely want to hear what your number one was this year, whether it be Guardians or whatever, really. And so make sure you hit us up on Twitter at popcultureisdumb.
No B.
DUM.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Let us know what we missed. If we glossed over something, or if we were talking about how relatively light the albums were this year. Let us know all the good stuff that we should have.
Let us know why we should have listened to Taylor Swift's 1989 some more.
Yeah, let us know why that's not on there.
Jackson, did you listen to her?
No, I did not. I can't say I've listened to a lot of her. But maybe if we get enough, we can do a
maybe if she had stayed on Spotify, I would have.
Yeah, because I've been using a lot of Spotify lately to try and catch up and do stuff. Kind of getting.
And if you're not on Spotify, I can't find you.
There was. I looked up an album or a list of albums that came out this year, just kind of refresh it, and I was going through adding some.
Yeah.
There was one that just wasn't on Spotify. I couldn't find the artist, and I was like, "You're not making the list. Sorry,
you're
buddy.
getting cut.
I got convenience to worry about today.
You're getting cut."
Yeah. So I went on over to the Pirate Bay, and no, I'm just kidding. Don't pirate. don't steal music.
Hashtag Pirate Bay.
Yeah. It's just those people. They deserve to get paid.
Well, cool. And also, you can find our website
http://www.popcultureisdumb.com. We have a running blog that has 3 updates as of the time of this recording. It will probably actually have 5 when you hear this, and maybe more depending on how restless I get over the holiday break, of which I don't actually have one.
Yeah.
But a holiday break and start throwing on Jackson Review cereal brands and everything else just to fill that out.
And we have a Instagram, also Pop Culture is Dumb, where what we've been doing lately is putting up these little flyer poster sort of things, promoting each episode. And our very good friend Colby Graham is designing all of those. And I think he's working on starting a graphic design company. So if you need some graphic design work, make sure you look him up or shoot us a tweet or something, and we will get you his information.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Yeah, he's great. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got all that. We got links to all of it on our website.
And we want to hear from you, so tell us why we're stupid.
Yeah, tell us why the list is wrong. Just let us know.
And make sure you also let us know what sort of things you would like us to sort of dive into. I know soon Walking Dead will be back, and I definitely want to do an episode on that. I want to do an episode on House of Cards coming back. We got some stuff in the books.
Yeah, I'm going to get a lot better about going to the movies. I think
Good.
we're going to
You should.
Just irrelevant ones.
We should
yearly
definitely
ones.
do a Interstellar episode sometime.
I think I should have seen that by the time this airs, and we
Yeah.
can do one on that. I'm like that. Gonna just keep trying to make the podcast better for you guys. And this, I believe, will be the last one of the year.
Yeah.
By the time it goes up, so we're gonna be hitting it strong in 2015.
We're going to get that ball rolling right off the bat.
Then I'm gonna retire and
Oh, don't do that.
never No, and just do the.
Oh,
podcast.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we've already opened up a Patreon and a Kickstarter, and
Yeah.
Indiegogo.
Find us, yeah.
You should pay for the hosting fees are a lot. We had to buy mics and stuff.
Yeah, they cost a lot of money.
$5 a month, you get a koozie once,
Yeah.
and we put your name on our website in a page that no one else sees.
Okay.
Thanks
Well,
for joining us.
let's bring this puppy to a close. This has been Pop Culture is Dumb. I'm your host, Zach Eagles.
I'm co-host Jackson Miller,
Yeah, you are.
or sidekick, whatever. I don't do the intros or the outros. I'm bad at those, as you can tell.
Apparently, you're kind of stumbling around a little bit. Okay, folks. Have a great, happy, safe New Year.
Don't drink and drive.
No, you better
Let's
not.
end this on a positive note.
And a depressing, sad one at that.
Thousands die every year. Be careful.
Don't be one.
Hopefully, I'm not one of them.
And on that note, we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Thank you.